Hi, my name is Ryan Pinkerton. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services.
And I'm Yamashita, the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services.
And we're here today to go over the LCAP presentation. So you can find the LCAP presentation right here in the district website under the About tab. Right here, LCAP, Control Accountability Plan, click on that. Most importantly, you'll see that there's a survey link which you can take after the presentation. But if you go down here, LCAP presentation along with the other LCAP information, and this is what Lisa and I are going to review with you today. So the LCAP is called the Local Control Accountability Plan. It is a plan that we put together every 3 years. We update it every year, but it's a 3-year plan. And so next year, the plan we're putting together right now, the 24-25 plan, will be the first year of our new 3-year LCAP. In putting together the LCAP, building it, really 4 things come to mind. The first one is really, what does the law say we must do? In particular, over the past 6 years, that's changed over time, and the biggest part of that is really adding metrics or ways to assess whether or not the plan is really working. And so that's going to be kind of the major difference, I would say, with this coming plan than what we've had in the past, is we'll really be focused on action steps and goals that have metrics associated with them. 2 is what does the research tell us we should do? So really all of our instruction curriculum should be research-based. Right now we're going through TK5 ELA adoption, right? Focused on research-based practices. And so things like that are really important, that whatever we put in our plan, it needs to have good, solid foundation and be research-based. Number 3 is also, what does the community tell us they would like us to have in the plan? So we'll be reaching out to parents and businesses and the community to get their input as well. And then lastly, which is really important and something we added a few years ago, and that's really what do we have the capacity to do, right? So we want to make change, we want to do what's best for students, but teachers can only do so much in terms of having a lot of change at one time. So those are all things that will guide us as we build the LCAP.
The state requires us to write the LCAP to address 3 target groups of students. Those are English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, and foster homeless youth. In addition to that, we're required to write action steps that address our students with disabilities or students on IEPs as well. These are all the different groups that we are going to be seeking feedback from across our district. We start with the Superintendent Student Senate, so all of our 5th through 12th graders will be represented. We're going to visit the Common Ground Advisory Task Force that the superintendent leads. Also, we're going to these staff presentations and providing a staff survey. There was a parent advisory council group called the LCAP Advisory Council that has developed the survey that you can take at the end of this video. We're going to continue to do board presentation updates every month. So if you'd like to log on to board docs to see what we present, you're welcome to do that there. We're going to present to the parent leader groups. Those are our leaders of our booster and PTA meetings, PTA groups across our district, as well as meeting with our union leadership groups. And finally, the District English Learner Advisory Council we met with last week, and the district equity team that the HR department is running also.
As part of the LCAP, we included a budget update for everyone to kind of get an idea of the school district budget and kind of what does this LCAP mean. So our overall budget is about $129 million. Of that, the LCAP represents about $6 million of that. Again, specifically focused on those 3 groups of students: English learners, economically disadvantaged, and foster homeless youth, as well as special ed now. In terms of our $129 billion, we're very fortunate in that property values have increased. So we've been able to kind of maintain our, I would say, our overall expenditure level over the past few years. We are about 3 years out from the end of our SB 1090 funds that we received because of the closure of Diablo Canyon, and so that is something that will be ending relatively soon. And so again, when I make my projections, when we're looking at budget, looking into the future, those are things I have to account for as we're looking at all of our expenditures. We are also spending down kind of the remaining COVID funds. So we received a lot of one-time, millions of dollars of one-time funds during COVID. And we added a lot of staff during that time, a lot of personnel, really to help students, both with academic achievement, behavior issues that we saw come after COVID as well, and even during COVID with online learning and computers and Wi-Fi for students, and those types of things. We do have some Prop 28 funds, which have come in, new law through the states. We're working on plans for that. And then lastly, we are also seeing increases in our special education population. So that's something we have to account for. So again, we talked about the $6 million as part of this plan. Last year's plan is actually a direct link on this slide that you can check out. In terms of state-funded districts as well, just for everyone to kind of get an idea, as a basic aid school district, our property taxes are higher than what we would receive from the state. And because of that, we actually get to keep those extra funds. So it's really nice. It helps us fund extra things for our kids. State-funded districts, however, the last 2 years have received really large increases. Close to 13% 2 years ago, 8% this year. And so they've given some substantial raises during that time. But now with the economy faltering, big potential deficits with state government, they're now looking at less than 1%, 0% increases. And that's probably going to last a few years. So basic aid school districts, and in particular for us at San Luis Coastal, we've kind of stayed stable during these times. We don't have big ups and downs in terms of fiscal cliffs and things. And so that's something that we're not going to face, but our neighbors will in the coming years. Again, this just shows over the next 2 years kind of projections. So we project to basically have, really small, if any, deficits. I'm kind of balancing our budget right over the next 2 years. We are spending down those one-time funds. The Board of Education was gracious enough to give our employees another 3% on top of the 3% that was already negotiated. So raising that to 6%. That's 10% over 2 years, which is great for our employees. We know it's really expensive to live on the Central Coast, and we know that that's helpful to all of our employees moving forward. Financial concerns upcoming, right? Still things. So we did hire a lot of people, which I'll show you on the next slide. We realize we're going to have to continue to look at salary increases, negotiation with health benefits. Those are key things. And like I stated earlier, the loss of that one-time in Diablo Canyon settlement funds is going to happen. In looking at that staffing change over the past 4 years, we did hire a lot of extra staff during COVID, right? So we had 3 principals on special assignment. Those positions all got reduced this year. So Jeff Martin was summer school, summer experience, and is now the principal at Teach. Laura Storm did MTSS and is now not working for the district. And John Calandro helped out in student services with counseling, and that position is gone. We did add 1 assistant principal at Laguna Middle School, mainly due to the LCAP process. So we heard a lot about the need at Laguna because of the number of students going through, and so that was something that we added 2 years ago. In terms of certificated staff, so teachers, nurses, counselors, we have increased 59 staff members during the same time period, from 435 to 494. And then from a classified standpoint as well, we've increased 56 classified employees along with 31 contracted paraeducators, so over 87 classified staff. All of those increases that I just discussed, we have not had a change in the number of students in our school district. So really enrollment is flat during that same time period. So now, how do you reduce, personnel costs are basically 85% of our school budget, right? So we either have more people or we pay less people more, right? So it's that kind of balance that we have to continue to look at, and this LCAP will look at that as well.
So our school board each year sets strategic priorities for the superintendent and our work here. And they're listed here on the left-hand side, and they're focused on academic achievement and closing the achievement gap, making sure that we have engaging curriculum and academic instruction. We want to ensure that there are metrics for success, which is really another MTSS, that we're focusing on students who need something different. And then number 4 is related to spending our money wisely, and number 5 is about collaboration and engagement, specifically of our parent groups. And to that end, we have kept consistent the overarching goals of the LCAP, but our action steps will change and be different. But the most important thing we do, the thing that makes the biggest difference for how students achieve, is first best instruction by the classroom teacher. And so that's our first focus area: rigorous, relevant, and engaging instruction and curriculum. The next focus area is related to sometimes students have unfinished learning, or they need to learn in a little bit different way. And so that's our MTSS systems, and we will continue to refine those at elementary and secondary level. And then the third is about the intentional culture of care, and that's meant to help us focus on the social, emotional, and behavioral supports our students need to be successful, to be ready to learn. And in the past, I know the staff has filled out these surveys every year, and we wanted to share with you last year, we heard people wanted more counseling at secondary. We've since added wellness centers at the 2 high schools and added an extra counselor at the middle school. So remember, what you say on this survey can matter. Small classes and reducing combo classes were critical to staff, and so we did the best we could to maintain small class sizes and minimize the number of combination classes at the elementary level. We know interventions to tackle unfinished learning is important, and we've continued to support our MTSS teachers and AIT teachers to continue to support students at the elementary level. We know we need better, stronger support for our English language learners, and so we're continuing the DLI curriculum programs that were bought for Pacheco and at Baywood. Both integrate EL materials in them, and we're looking to do that with the next adoption as well at our elementary schools. We want to support our equity work, and many of us are participating in the equity, inclusion, and belonging trainings by the County Office of Education. We also have employed Hanover research team to come in and look at our hiring practices and make recommendations to support stronger hiring people of color. And we also are under development of the ethnic studies course. If you want to learn more about that, you can look on our board policy, board updates information, because it's going to be coming up at the next couple board meetings. We hear loud and clear our teachers and staff want high quality, meaningful professional development, and we will continue to strive to make professional development plans that meet your needs. There's a bunch listed here on this slide I won't read through. We know we need to do a deep look at our reading curriculum, which the elementary team has worked on strongly this year, and hopefully by the end of the month we'll have a recommendation to the school board for next school year. And finally, we heard Title I enrichment is really important for our Title I schools. We want our students to have enriching activities beyond the school day, and we continue to support elementary athletics for achievement. So at the end of the show, you'll see there's a QR code to take you to a survey. Again, that survey wasn't written by Ryan and I. It was developed by our LCAP Parent Advisory Committee, and it's going to ask you to rank in order of priority how you want us to spend that $6 million to make an impact on those 3 groups of children: socioeconomically disadvantaged, English learners, and homeless foster youth. Likely, whatever we do to affect their outcomes will be good for all the other children in our system as well. So in academic achievement, do you believe curriculum, instructional strategies, assessment, or professional development is where we'll get the biggest bang for the dollars we spend? What kind of interventions and MTSS support do you want to see? And how can we build a better culture of care for our students and families here in San Luis Coastal? This is a link to the SurveyMonkey slideshow, and the survey will be closing at the end of this month in March, when the LCAP Advisory Committee will analyze and synthesize all the results. So your voice matters. Please take time now to fill out the survey.
And again, you can also see that survey right on the website, on the LCAP page, at the very top. Right here, you can just click right on.
Thank you for your time and have a good day.
Thank you.